My path and my life always brought me to Calder and to Kelly from very early days. I always was drawn to both artists completely independently. And I thought, this is the most incredible dialogue. It is a connection about space, about the sublime. It is a connection towards abstraction. The dialogue in between figuration and abstraction.
Ellsworth stayed in France from 1948 to 54. He said, I want to do something that I've never done before. I really just want to see the world in a different way.
Calder is that very established, recognized sculptor there in Paris, in the circles of Mondrian and Miro, and Ellsworth, being quite young and unknown, gets to meet Calder. Suddenly, the eyes of someone whose all thinking is about the movement, the sublime, the ethereal, meets this young, idealistic man.
From the beginning, Kelly was excited to have met this, this great master. My grandfather treated Ellsworth like a great artist. He loved his work and was fascinated by what he was up to.
I am convinced that that encounter for Ellsworth is the first encouragement. And from that moment onward, continues a very meaningful friendship with key steps. The most important one is when Calder asks MoMA's then director, Barr, to go to Ellsworth's studio. And he sends Dorothy Miller, and she includes them in that famous 1959 exhibition.
They were exploring something greater than themselves in a way to communicate to humanity. A sensation of purity is really unique for them.
You find the shape of the elements and the shapes in the canvas echo each other. You find the relationship to shadow, to nature in the most extraordinary way. But then they go apart and they're completely different.
Calder is trying to help us define our experience, something beyond ourselves. It's about universal expressions. There's a dynamic between people that we can't scientifically explain. How when you meet somebody, you have this instant camaraderie, instant kinship, and Calder makes a mobile about it.
It's one of my favorite paintings of Ellsworth's. When you see it, you move in front of it, relating to each of the parts in a particular way. It has this kind of movement within the piece. He said he followed this woman once who had a red scarf, and it created this red shape that was seared into his brain. This is Ellsworth's journal. Sandy gave me a small canvas and a project for a sculpture for Philadelphia. I gave Sandy a small black and white painting, Charmette 1, which looked very nice there, somewhat like one of his things.
Ellsworth told me himself that the takeoff point was the way light comes through the plane trees in the south of France near Aix-en-Provence, and that kind of cucullores effect on the ground, while the reality of those shadows was where it began. It's this moment of pure aesthetics. Calder and Kelly both went beyond a sense in their work that they had to respond to social conditions. They presented something beyond that. They're much more hopeful about humanity, both of them. And when you put their works together, then you have an even stronger resonance of what that's about.